Okay, here we are. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Um, this is Joanna here. I'm very happy to be with these two gentlemen in this room today for our first NFT Creator Development Series session. So I'm here to introduce you to Caleb. And Caleb is part of our global internship program. The global internship program is basically a 2-month program for students to have the first working experience on the Algorand Foundation. Caleb is joining us as the NFT ecosystem success intern. And these sessions, so like these three sessions that will happen and starting today, the next one will be on Friday, and the third one will be on Wednesday next week, will be part of Caleb's internship program. So I'm very happy for these and also very thankful for everyone who joined us. It's a very important moment for the two of us. So with no further ado, Caleb, take the stage. The stage is yours. And Joseph, Loaf Pickle, thank you again for being with us.
Of course.
Yeah, so a quick introduction to who I am. I'm currently studying marketing at the University of British Columbia in Canada. Today, Joseph, aka Loaf Pickle, is going to teach you guys a bit about marketing and promoting digital assets. If you have any questions throughout the webinar here, throw them in the questions chat, and then we'll have a dedicated time for that at the end. Joanna is going to be monitoring that throughout the time. And without further ado, Joseph, you can get started here.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me on here. Really excited to kind of share my experience with everybody. So yeah, this is the marketing promoting of digital assets. I didn't use NFTs here because I'll get into that a little bit later, but I think NFT is the wrong nomenclature to use for something like this. If you want to go to the next slide.
Yeah.
All right, so Joseph, aka Loaf Pickle. I'm here because I know Algorand NFTs. My Twitter handle is Loaf Pickle. Basically every single platform I'm Loaf Pickle on, so it's very easy to find me if you have any questions after this or want to shoot me a DM or anything like that. Go to the next page. All right, so basics. Before I got into marketing and everything like that, I kind of just wanted to do a little bit of a crash course of what a digital asset is, and just kind of run through the basics of everything. So that way, if somebody is interested in blockchain technology, they could kind of go into the next area of marketing, knowing how to do everything and how NFTs and digital assets work, and just go forward. So if you want to go to the next slide, please. All right, so what is a digital asset? A digital asset is artwork that's minted on a blockchain. Now, digital assets can be an NFT or an FT. An NFT is a non-fungible token, and it only has a quantity of one. Essentially, it means that the token itself can't be broken down or into many parts. A fungible token, which we usually associate with coins and stuff, they can have more than one. What's nice about Algorand itself is the process of creating an NFT or a fungible token are exactly the same in the asset creation process. You just set a quantity to it. So in most cases with digital artwork, it's usually a 1-of-1. But you could do things like have a 10 of 1 if you want to have maybe a signed edition and have 10 non-signed editions. So there's plenty of things that you could do in order to kind of mess around and experiment with digital assets on the chain. Another thing you could do is you could also make an asset broken up into many parts, so you could have it divisible by 1. So you could do add 2 decimal places. So you, instead of receiving making 100 of them, you'll have 0.01 of a NFT. So go next slide, please. Okay, so when you mint, minting itself is the process of inscribing your artwork on the blockchain. On Algorand, you can determine the quantity upon the asset upon creation, and when minting, you could choose an image and metadata for the media. You could even do videos, you could do PDFs, you could do GIFs, you could honestly do any single piece of media that you want. And then there's also different processes. You could have one that's fully immutable, which means you can never change it ever. So what you minted will stay that. Or you could have do it in a way where you can upgrade it, you can update the metadata, you can update the image. So there's plenty of different ways that you can mint a digital asset on Algorand for whatever style you're looking to transmit. Next slide, please. Okay, so metadata is probably one of the most important things for an NFT, and especially for marketing. This is kind of the area where if somebody's able to buy your piece, it's all the information that is associated with that piece. So typically, we look at an NFT as just simply an image, but what happened with profile pictures was there'll be the traits. So you would have each trait category with the trait that it was. You could have rarity scores that derive from the metadata. But for me, the most important thing about the metadata is making sure that you have your socials and your brand that's associated to it. So on Algorand, they allow you to have a description. So you kind of talk about like what the piece actually is. Maybe if you want to add a story to it, you put it in there. You have the external URL, which you would want to like link to your website. You could add in metadata for like your Twitter. If you have an NFT, you could use that. So there's plenty of different ways for you to put your information into what the artwork or whatever you're trying to mint on the chain. So to me, this is probably one of the most important parts of NFT minting itself, and where I think people should put a lot of thought into, because if I'm just seeing a piece of artwork on a marketplace, I could click on it, and then from there, I'll be able to get all the information about the creator. So it's really important for your business and your brand to be able to make this very clear and sort of articulate exactly what you're trying to transmit through your piece. You go to the next one. Okay, so why digital assets? So right now we kind of are in the very early stages, I would say, of digital assets. We had like the rise and fall of PFPs that are happening now. I think right now we're kind of going through more of a transformation era of everything. But what got me into digital assets, and what I think will kind of bring in the next wave of people to digital assets, is the use cases behind it. Some of the things that you just get automatically when you mint via digital assets is you get easy traceability and authentication. If somebody wants to like resell it, a lot of marketplaces, they have royalties that are built into the platform itself. So if somebody manages to sell one of your pieces, you could get a small percentage of that sale back to you, which is really great for artists. Minting wallets act as galleries for easy viewing of artwork. Typically, I have to tell people if they're minting a collection, mint it out of one wallet. So this way you can use that wallet address sort of as you would a folder on your computer. And then from there, whatever you had minted for that collection or anything, it will be easily found in one single place. And there are plenty of websites out there that you could kind of just put in a wallet address and it'll show your entire gallery and everything like that. So it makes it really easy that you don't have to like have a full custom website built in order to people to be able to view your collection. Each asset has a unique ID. On Algorand, this is called the ASA ID. ASA stands for Algorand Standard Asset. And that can be permissioned. There are plenty of ways that you can mint an NFT. You can be controlled by smart contracts. The most simple way is just have one asset is its own ID. And then from there, you can sort of add permissions through like a front end. So let's say you have a website and you want to have only a section that's available to people who hold your collection. You could easily do that with blockchain technology because the chain acts as an authentication service itself. And I think the most important part is collectors can easily know if your art is real or fake just by verifying who the creator wallet is or the asset ID. So I think there's a lot of benefits for artists here. And, moving forward, it would be really nice to kind of see more people onboarded just through these different ways that digital art can benefit them by using blockchain technology. Next slide. All right. So you're hearing a lot about all these digital assets, but who am I? And what is a loaf pickle? So, go ahead. So I have been here since April of 2021. So I was here from basically like the start of Algorand NFTs back then. We used to hang out on Reddit and just kind of sell our work through Reddit itself. I had saw the NFT craze starting on Ethereum back then, and I like looked at minting an NFT over there, and it cost like $200 in gas, and I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. So I started looking around for like alternates. I looked at Cardano for a little bit. I didn't really like it, and then I found Algorand, and I was like, oh wow, like Algorand's literally has everything that Cardano is promising already. So like, let me start here. So I actually created the second NFT series on Algorand. blockchain. It was US Algo. Kind of did as an experiment. I just kind of wanted to feel like what minting NFTs was like, if there really was like a market behind it, if there were use cases behind it and everything like that. So I just sold my art on Reddit. And I did it in a free mint style where I just said, if you want it, put it in here, but if you want it more, bid a price for it. And it was cool, just every day I would like release a different state of the United States. And from there, just kind of saw like, the demand and enthusiasm for blockchain technology. And then as a creator, I also saw like, there's so many different use cases that we could utilize blockchain technology for, especially, if you want to bring utility series. So after that, I helped create the first utility series on Algorand as well. I teamed up with Durstober and Durstober Digital Studios. We created this whole horse racing series where the assets act as game tokens. So it was kind of cool in a way because we kind of flipped the script from what you normally have is you buy a game online, and with NFTs, you actually kind of build the game and sell the pieces. So it was a really cool like juxtapose, and it was another use case that I saw for NFTs moving forward. And then, as time went on, being really early, I saw the friction that's involved in the space and like get started. Like when I minted my first NFT, there was like so many steps that I had to do. It was a real pain in order to even get started. So, just kind of having that in my mind, I wanted to create tools for people that, first come on the blockchain that don't know how to code or anything like that. Because so much of blockchain is a technology. And if you're not a developer, it becomes really hard to kind of make that leap into doing all these bulk functions. So we created Evil Tool, but we just rebranded it to Wen.tools. So from there, you can do things like minting, and it became the top minting and tooling platform on Algorand. So I'm really proud of that. And then, from there, I actually just joined Para, and I'm the head of product and marketing for Para. So over there, I'm in charge of, being able to figure out what will bring in monthly active users, analyze the data, come up with new features that will engage growth, and then obviously articulate like what we're doing to the community. So that way we can build a passionate base around it and, start building the user base of Algorand, because at Para, we do see ourselves as the front door of Algorand. So, having a good user experience over there is really important for me, and also articulating like why it's a good user experience. So that's what I'm currently up to right now. Next slide, please. All right, so accomplishments. I've done a lot in the ecosystem. I've set up 50 plus Discords for new creators. I helped mint over 150,000 NFTs, helped projects reach over 1.2 million Algorand in sales. I spearheaded expansion campaigns into multiple chains, created resource guides and for existing and new creators, and created a no-code tooling suite to make Algorand easy. So, digital assets is kind of my thing. I've just been around for a while, and I'm always happy to help, which is one of the reasons why I'm happy to be on this phone call right now and be able to spread my knowledge, because it's rewarding seeing somebody that I helped onboard just kind of take off and fly. So, the more people that could come here, be able to, just make Algorand bigger and just kind of welcome everybody into this community. Next slide, please. All right, so now into the fun stuff, marketing, promotion, stuff that nobody likes to do. All right, so the most important thing for marketing is to create your brand. It's what you're going to be known for. It's what people are going to relate into. It's what people are going to identify you as. It's by far and away the most like thoughtful area you should put into creating a series. Now, I just went through a rebranding like this morning, so I kind of went through the whole process. So I can tell you straight up, the first thing you should do is, if you're looking to create something, is go on GoDaddy or any other website and start typing in names and seeing if they're available. Because you can have the greatest name in the world, but next thing you know, you go to pull up the domain and it's like $10,000, and you're like, I'm not paying $10,000 for that. So first things first, like just try to think of names, like what you want your brand to represent, a clever name for it. And then from there, see what names are available. So that's where I would put like your first effort into. And, sometimes things can be very unique. Sometimes you can make a brand based around yourself, and that's pretty popular, or you want to have a brand that's like sort of like a Coca-Cola. Like nobody really knows like what Coca-Cola really is, but at the same time, like that's the way that that product has set up. So once you decide on your name, you want to keep your naming consistent. If you have any socials, you want to keep that name across all your socials. And then also too, you want to keep your logos consistent. You want to keep your colors consistent. You want to keep your themes. This is typically called as a brand guide. But essentially you want people to know that, you on Twitter is you on your website, is you on Instagram, is you on Discord. It really just helps with name recognition. And that's like one of the most important things, because the easier your name can be stuck in people's head, the more you have an ability to kind of promote your work and have other people promote your work through word of mouth. So your brand is by far and away, like before you even like put your pen to paper, you want to have your brand sort of planned out beforehand. So then once you have that all figured out, you have your website and everything like that. You want to register your artwork on all the marketplaces. It's kind of a tedious process now. I know there's a few things that are being worked on to kind of make this easier, but when you start selling things, you want to be able to have people be able to see it everywhere. So for Algorand itself, it'll be register on RAND, register on EXA, register on AXN. So you just get your stuff in the most places as possible. What's really beautiful about blockchain itself is once it's inscribed to the chain, if anybody knows your creator address that you're minting from, all your artwork will start appearing automatically. So as a person that's minting and very new to the ecosystem, you already have a lot of tools from the ecosystem at your disposal to help you promote things already. So you could go on Mintal, for example, and see everything you minted. Or if you could go to ASAlytic and you can see how your sales are doing and things like that. So it's a lot of kind of crowdsourced efforts within blockchain itself that really help you start, getting off the ground running. But you just want to have your stuff in as many places as possible. And then what I like to suggest too is to create an NFT for your brand. An NFT is a non-fungible domain. They're a naming service that's on Algorand. And what this does is on like blockchains explorers, for example, you could type in like mybrand.algo and it'll show up. So like, let's say if you purchase something, when the transaction appears and the wallet that bought it, instead of being a random string of characters, it will be your brand. So it's just another easy way for people to understand who you are and get your name out there more. And in addition to that, you could actually use your NFT to add metadata about your project. So if somebody clicks on your NFT, they could go to the NFT website, and then your list of your socials and your website will be there as well. So discovery. You just want to make your project and your brand as discoverable as possible. Next. Okay, so the most important thing too is to actually have a website. I know it's kind of hard, especially if you never made one before, but there are services like Squarespace or WordPress or something like that. But the main reason why you want a website is social media is great for promotion, but it's a complete black hole. Like if you want to search a tweet from years ago, it's going to be almost impossible. With websites too, you're allowed to have search engine optimization tags, which it will really help derive like users to your site if they're just looking for like an NFT project on Algorand. Like to me, I think one of the biggest mistakes happening right now is you type in like something Algorand and related to it, and you see all these like older projects that are currently populating the list. It's your job as a brand to try to get yourself to the top of that list, because if somebody's just randomly searching for something about Algorand, you want your stuff to be one of the first things that appear. It just helps in terms of the discovery itself. In addition to that, websites also let you link all your social media, and it lets people know that, okay, this Twitter account this person's saying is the one that is actually there. So it actually acts as a mean of double verification that, this person is the right account, because, let's say your project does take off, there might be scammers or impersonators that come out by. So this would be another way for people to know that, my stuff is real. You can put your creator addresses there as well. So that way they know that like that's real stuff. But your website is kind of like your home base. So try to think of it like that and be able to take advantage of all the unique features that having a website for your project and brand will be able to give you. And then when it comes to the actual website itself, you want to create a story. I mean, just like we're humans, we just love stories itself. So instead of just creating art, like have a story behind it, like why you created it, maybe your inspiration, or if you're creating like a series, maybe have like, thematic around it of like why the series is the way it is. So that way it kind of allows people, when they're looking at it, they'd be like, oh, you know what, I relate to that, or, I really like that, or that's funny. So it allows you to kind of inject a little bit more of your personality into what you're trying to sell. And for the user experience as well, it allows your website to be sort of an immersive experience into your art. So, humans love stories, so build one. Okay, now this one is becoming more important as AI is becoming more prevalent. You're going to want to show your work. Before I even got into NFTs, I was on Facebook, and I used to love watching those videos of people like making tables and stuff like that. Like there's just like something therapeutic about just seeing something being made. And when I got into the NFT space, people would put drawing videos on Twitter, and I would take like the 5 minutes or something just to watch like it happen. But it's as a buyer, it's something when you see the art being made. So take videos and record yourself drawing and post it to the socials. I think it's really important to show that you are the one that is making your art. Post previews or completed images, videos. Just be transparent that you are the one that's making this artwork. I think it's probably one of the easiest ways to kind of build up your series, build up your reputation, and build up your brand by just kind of being authentic with like who you are, how it's done, and your style. If you use some AI, there's nothing wrong with it. But just be transparent. Like if you're doing pixel, if you're doing line art, just be transparent of how you're processing these images and what like the process behind it. So that way, when people are buying it, they know. Because with AI art, it's important to show authenticity. I think we all kind of have that bias that it's sort of cheap in a way. So if you could show that, my work is taking me like hours to do because it is real, I think it'll mean a lot more for the buyers that are to know that, this is something that somebody actually like, really spent time on it. So they're just putting a prompt into a AI system and generate an image. So I think especially too, as time goes on, I think this is going to be really, really important for any future artists looking to mint their art. Next. Okay, so promoting your work. What to do, be honest, set expectations, set boundaries, have fun. It's really important that you enjoy what you do. This could be very stressful sometimes. You could let it sort of kind of spiral out if you're not transparent or you don't set boundaries for yourself. Then you start burning out. Like you don't want that to happen. This is something that, depending on like how far you want to take it, if you want to do a full-blown utility series, just have the expectation that it's going to be like sort of like a tech startup. Or if you want to just sell art because you like making art, just tell people, communicate that, and just be like, hey, look, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to sell the stuff that I want to sell. A lot of things that I see a lot of people fall into is in the what not to do category, and that's setting unrealistic expectations, promoting your art as an investment, and burning yourself out. Like, this is something for you to do as either a job or a passion. So just understand like what your focus is at the very beginning, and then start promoting it there. Try to, build up an organic community, because in my opinion, hearing something else from somebody else is a better form of marketing than me kind of saying, my stuff's the best or anything like that. So if you're honest with the community, they kind of grow everything with you, and you're able to sort of just be able to, cultivate and just organically just build up people that, love your brand, love what you do. This will keep it like fun and honest for you, because once you start over promising, people might buy extras because, you said that you're going to do this, and then you realize, oh, this is a lot harder for me to actually do, and it just doesn't pan out. Then, you're dealing with having like false promises. People have a sour taste in their mouth. So just try to keep it organic. Just try to, have fun with it. And, if don't say you're going to do something until you actually know you can do it or it's done. So just I just seen so many people over the years just fall into this sort of trap. and just fall out. So, it's just so much easier on you if you're just honest with your base upfront. And I think in the long run, they'll really start appreciating that and start appreciating, your brand and who you are as a person as well. Next. Okay, so yeah, the roadmap to parallel. So this kind of goes what I was saying earlier, but people put out these roadmaps like before they even sell an NFT that their product is going to change the world, and next thing you know, it just doesn't work out. So I kind of added a few kind of quirky things that's going on, but essentially what winds up happening with this is crypto is a fast growing field. Things change, trends change at the blink of an eye. So if you plan out what you're going to be doing for the next year, you kind of put yourself into a box of, this is what I have to do because I said it. If just keep yourself flexible, keep yourself honest, and try to avoid roadmaps as much as possible. You could say hey, look, I'm thinking of doing this, I'm thinking of doing that. Don't put things down in writing. Don't lock yourself into roadmaps, because I've only seen one way for these to go, and it's just to peril. And the top thing I could just say is just avoid them, and allow yourself to be as flexible as possible when it comes to NFTs, because the trend today is not going to be the trend tomorrow, and it's not going to be the trend after that. So just keep yourself loose, keep yourself having fun, and avoid locking yourself into things. Next. And then make yourself accessible. Your art's an experience. So the most important thing is to have open communication. Just have a way for people to reach you if they need. This could be through your website, have an email address. You could have a Discord if you want people to chat with each other. Another thing that to take into account is, blockchain is a worldwide thing. Not everybody speaks English. So try to be mindful that there are different time zones out there. There are people that speak different languages that aren't English native people. So, by being open and as accommodating as possible, I think it would be a really good way for you to help kind of, build your brand and allow people from all over the world to, start enjoying your artwork and your brand. It's kind of one of the biggest mind-blowing things for me is I'll be talking to people at once. One person's in England, I'm in the United States, another person's in Australia. And it's kind of crazy how, this sort of one singular project can connect people from all over the world. And to me, that's one of the coolest things about blockchain itself. So, if you could kind of learn that right away and be able to be as accommodating as possible, people that, let's say you're a United States person and you want to sell to people in Australia, they'll feel right away that you're welcoming to them, just because you already had thought of, things with time zones and different language supports for those non-native English speakers out there. So it just it's a lot easier if you already have a hand out reaching for others to grab it. So it's really, and then even too, people have questions, just be honest, transparent, answer things, and communicate effectively. That's really what it comes down to, is for having a good project, is just having open communication. Next. Yeah, blockchains have no borders. So, just be mindful of everything. And thank you. Happy to sort of spread whatever wisdom I have. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much, Loaf Pickle. It was really cool. I learned a lot. I took many notes. I hope everyone took notes too. So we have one question from Diego. And Diego asked, do all the marketplaces display the same metadata of NFTs, even if they were minted on a different marketplace?
Yes. So as long as you follow, there's three main standards on Algorand. There's ARC19, which is mutable images and metadata. There's ARC69, which is kind of outdated. That was made more for NFTs that came into existence before metadata standards existed. And then there's ARC3, which is fully immutable, so you can't change things after it's minted. But as long as your artwork follows any of those major standards, the marketplaces will be able to read them and pick up the traits. So it's really important. I personally prefer ARC19 or ARC3. You don't have any limitations. You could add as much stuff as you want in there. And to me, I like ARC19 the best because it allows you to sort of evolve your series. Let's say if you do you make an artwork series early and then you want to upgrade the art, you have the ability to do that. So it kind of makes things future proof. But I know some people like the ability to say like, this will never change. So it's really up to your style and everything.
Cool. Thank you. And I actually have one question. So my question is about, I know that a lot of the things that you've shared with us, you just learned by doing, right? So throughout your journey, you learn, you probably saw some things on other projects. What is, in your opinion, like if you could choose one, what is the key for success in an NFT marketplace? Is that the marketing? Is that more on the community? Even though I think that everything kind of mixes, right? It's like everything falls in the same bucket, but what is the number one thing, in your opinion, for success?
Yeah, so the number one thing is having a good community, having just people that enjoy who you are, enjoy your brand, enjoy the art that you're producing, and from there, they'll tell people that they know, hey, look, this person's really cool. I really like what they're doing, and then from there, it just allows things to grow organically. But a lot of that really starts with being true to yourself, being true to like what you're here for, and being open and communicative with the message and the works that you're trying to sell, essentially. So it goes kind of hand in hand with each other. But to me, those are the two most important things, because without an active base and everything, you're not going to really go far. And by having people that are there to help you, support you along your journey, it just kind of like one of those things where it just makes kind of going into Discord the next day and seeing these people that, are enthusiastic for what you're building and creating, it just makes it that much better for you. And, if things turn out to be successful, you'll see more people every day and everything like that. So it's a lot of it's really the community behind, selling digital artwork.
Great. Okay, so we don't have any questions, neither on the chat, neither on the Q&A session. So I think we are good to wrap up. I will let Caleb take the stage. And on my behalf, I want to thank everyone again for being here, for being so active on the chat. And again, thank you so much, Joseph, for this fantastic presentation.
Of course, I'm happy to help.
Looks like we got one more question also from Diego here. It's is Discord necessary for a community?
No, absolutely not. You do want to have a place where people can reach you, whether that's Twitter. I fully recommend having a website though, just for those search engine optimizations and everything like that. Discord is not relevant to the fullest. Like if you have a big community and you want to play like a central place that they could chat, but even if you're an artist, what you could do too is you could just go into other Discords, join some other communities, start talking to people, making friends, things, this, that, the other thing. So that way you're kind of getting yourself out there and being able to just kind of market yourself, because there's a bias out there. It's called the halo effect. And essentially what it means is like once people start seeing you in a certain light, they start to see everything that stems from you in that same light. So if you're a likable person, your art becomes a lot more likable as well. So by kind of going out there and putting yourself out there and, just making people happy and being enthusiastic, that enthusiasm and that happiness will start spreading to other areas of your brand and yourself. So, I think the issue I see with a lot of kind of smaller artists is they don't really put themselves out there too much. It's not really knocking them or anything. We all have different personality types, but it's hard for people to come to you if you're not going out to them. So you kind of have to put yourself out there a little bit.
Awesome. So that's going to wrap up the session today. Loaf Pickle, thank you for your time and teaching us all so much today. If you have any other questions that come up, feel free to send a message to me, Joanna, or Loaf Pickle through any of our social medias. We'll be sure to get back to you as fast as possible. And our next session, as Joanna said, is Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys there. And thanks for coming out.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.